Hello, YouTube. See, I'm at work today, so gotta forgive the bad lighting. I see that if I move in certain ways, it gets much better. Hey, I have new and important updates. Again, new and important updates. These updates, they may actually impact whether or not you decide to send your children back to school. I've got to admit they're that significant and that profound that they may actually impact if you're going to send your child back to school or not. If you could drop in the comment section where you're listening from, I would appreciate it. Or if you are listening to it on a replay, let me know. But everybody, the world's changing, and we've got to change with it. For those of you all who are following me and watching the replay, you're following me from Facebook. Sorry about Facebook. Still working it out. Someone hacked my entire life and Facebook, and now I've got proved to Facebook who I am. But we're going to keep it moving because we've got lives to save and we have things to do. But everyone, these are strange times. These are scary times. And if you're feeling a little anxious, it's not you. It's the world. Donna Hodge, listening from St. Martin. What's going on, Donna? This information, it's not necessarily disturbing, but it's new. And it just came out. Well, first, just as a public service announcement, it is extremely important this year, more so than any other year, for you to get your flu shot. Here's why. It's very likely that they're going to run out. But as you see, I am working clinically today. When you come in, we clinically cannot tell the difference but between the flu and COVID. By having a flu shot, it makes you less likely to get the flu. Secondly, if you get the flu, it makes you more susceptible to if you get COVID to having negative outcomes. Why? Because your immune system is compromised, or your immune system is not as strong. All right, does that work? Let's get into the new information. 90% of cases. There's been a 90% increase in cases in children in the last 4 weeks. 90% of cases in children in the last 4 weeks. The question is why? Well, it makes sense. Early on, we weren't testing children. So there's been a lot more testing in children. Why is that? More likely because of kids about to go back to school. Children are becoming more infected. Why? Some kids are already in school, but kids have been moving around more, so they've gotten more exposed. Remember, during the springtime and during the lockdown, kids were not interacting with other kids on a higher level, meaning that it was pretty rare. But as the summer went on, you found camps opening, you found cabin fever, and other children interacting with other children. And then 3, this one makes sense. There's been an increase in the virus in the population. In other words, the more prevalent the virus, the greater likelihood that other children are going to get it. Now, this information that I'm about to give you, let me just give you a source just real quick. It comes from the JAMA, July 30th. And just to help Google it, it's called Age-Related Difference in nasopharyngeal cavity in SARS-CoV-2. For those of you who this is your first time following me, we've already defined what everything is, but just quickly. The name of the virus is SARS-CoV-2. SARS-CoV-2 is the name of the virus. The name of the disease it causes is COVID-19. And the reason why it's called SARS-CoV-2, because this is not our first time seeing it. We saw it in 2003 and 2004, just called SARS then, but it was really SARS-CoV. The information that this article presents and gives, and it comes out of JAMA. JAMA, July 30th. Children carry increased viral loads more than what we ever thought. Children carry increased viral loads more than what we ever thought. Small sample size, but enough for us to draw and inference. Long story short, because I don't want to drag this out, this is important information and I want you to pick up on it. By the way, attached to this is a bit.ly that for the up to date for the parents. If you want a way of helping categorize how you decide to send your children to a school, I've broken it down in this bit.ly to we look at it from a community point of view, from a family point of view, from a school point of view, from a data-driven point of view. Full disclosure, the data part of that graphic that I have that is available for like download, substitute that data for what I'm about to present now. But in this study, it said that children less than 5 years of old, less than 5 years of age, when they were swabbed for viral DNA, when they were swabbed for the virus, and they assessed how much virus was there, they had 10 to 100 times more virus in their nasal pharyngeal cavity, meaning the back of their throat and in their nose, 10 to 20 more times virus than those ages 5 to 17, and even greater than those of adults. 10 to 100 times more. That's new, because we were always told, or we've been told, well, children, they get infected, but they don't infect other people. In fact, I've shared that information because it was based upon data given. Whoa, let's pick it up. Follow me now. Well, let me solve this. Let me share this. Forgive me, but I still get this answer. I still get asked this question on many shows. Yes, children can get infected just as easily as anyone else. Children can get infected just as easy as anyone else. What this study on JAMA tells us is that they carry viral loads in their nose at 10 to 100 times greater than those ages 5 to 17 and those ages 18 to 67. And otherwise, these little cute little children of ours, they're infectious. They're infectious, and they carry and they pass infectivity on to other people. It gets even better. Let's put this in the context of going back to school. In other words, preschool, children's daycares, they have more viral loads, more infectivity. They got more virus around them, and therefore more kids are getting infected. The good news is kids are still experiencing milder symptoms. Kids are still experiencing milder symptoms. Kids are still less likely to die. There's still kids, unfortunately, who are dying. There were, fortunately, 19 states who reported no deaths at all. 19 states who reported no deaths at all. Of those infected who are hospitalized, to put a context on it, 8 in every 100,000 kids who are infected are hospitalized. Whereas adults, 163 out of 100,000, they are infected. 163 out of 100,000, they are infected. But the difference about kids, thank you, Adrian, the difference about kids is that 1 in 3 of those infected end up going to the ICU. So while they are hospitalized at a lesser rate, they're more likely to have worsening symptoms that require an ICU admissions. Now let's look at this plainly, because if you think about it, and it all makes sense. The coronavirus, well, there are many forms of the coronavirus. Just don't forget, we haven't seen this strain. Many of our common colds are the coronavirus. Many of our common colds are the coronavirus. And common colds they are respiratory tract infections that we easily pass. We've known for a long time that colds, by and large, the drivers for those are children. We've known that for years. That's nothing new. Given that COVID-19 is simply a coronavirus, SARS-CoV-2, which causes disease COVID-19, SARS-CoV-2 is simply a coronavirus. Therefore, we should have known it should have been just as infectious. The difference between COVID-19 and a regular cold is that COVID-19 causes worsening symptoms and causes death, whereas the common cold usually does not. Let me put a context on there, just so I'm not scaring adults. In general, The flu, just the flu outside of COVID, it kills about 100 children a year. Sad, but it's not that many. COVID now, it's not on track to outdo children. Our kids are still safe. They are getting sick, which is what we didn't realize, but most of them still wind up okay. The issue that we're facing is we now realize, and technically already knew, that ages 0 to 5 are carrying high viral loads and they're able to infect other people. Those other people go on and infect people with pre-existing conditions, and those people with pre-existing conditions go on and may have worsening symptoms and require a ventilator. Does that make sense? Okay. The take-home point that I'm making is as you decide if you're going to send your child to school or not, or your children, or your loved ones, or your grandchildren, if you're going to send them, while your take-home point is clear. 3 things. Children get infected, and they carry viral loads at higher amounts than younger people or than adults. The ages age 0 to 5 carry higher viral loads than anyone else, and they're able to infect other people. We know that. 2, they still have milder symptoms than other people. But 3, the take-home points, they are able to infect other people. So the question becomes, as you think about, am I going to send my child to school this fall? It's real simple. Who is your child coming home to? If they're coming home to someone who's in the high-risk category, that's a data point to consider. If they are going to be exposed to someone who's in a high-risk category, that's a data point to consider. If your child has pre-existing conditions, especially lung diseases like asthma, that's another data point as well. Again, team, this information is constantly changing. No, I ordered an X-ray. No problem. This information is constantly changing, so we've got to have our head on the swivel. I would encourage you, don't commit, make a decision, no doubt. But in light of new and significant information, be willing to change your decision. I need you to do me a favor. By the way, you can hit that bit.ly. Share this video with other people. For those of you who are on Facebook, please go to Facebook and share, hey, Dr. Geoffrey's been hacked. Moved everything to YouTube. Yes, my business page on Facebook is still working. The only reason why that's still working is because my PR company, my former PR company, they are the administrators. So that still works for them. When I try to sign into it, it does not work. Be safe out there. Do something kind. Do something nice for someone. Please share this. And again, this is about the decisions that we make, especially the split-second decisions. Real quick, and you can check my article on LinkedIn about this. As we do this well-thought-out process of thinking through all the variables and our decisions to send our children to school, those are well-thought-out decisions. But if that decision does not give you the results you want, or if you're wrong, then you're definitely in the split-second decision space. It's better that you be trained in split-second decisions. Otherwise, you're just guessing during that moment. I would encourage you to go splitseconddecisions.com or pick up the bestseller, Training Your Minds in Split-Second Decisions. But if you do none of that, be kind to other people. Share this video with other people. And in the end, we will all be okay. How do I know that? Because if odds show that 99.9% of children do just fine and 97% of adults. Thank you very much. I look forward to talking to you soon. And Dr. Adrian Jones, right? Doctor, giving the vitamin D and Flintstone vitamins is that good thing. Adrian Jones, that thank you for asking. I don't know much about Flintstone vitamins. Vitamin D is absolutely key. Follow me just real quick. Had not planned on talking about this, but like we're gonna make it clear. I'm trying to put it concisely. There have been several studies. One of them out of Indonesia that it looked at 791 COVID positive patients. Of those that died, 98.9% of those that died were vitamin D deficient. Only 4% of those that died were vitamin D neutral, meaning that they were fine. Another study in France basically showed that what it looked at was, it showed that vitamin D was a humongous risk factor for negative outcome, vitamin D deficiency, to the point where the government in France says that if you're COVID positive, you're over the age of 60, you've got to get a vitamin D level. If that level is low, they recommend 50 to 100,000 units of vitamin D IV right away, and then maintenance dose. What is my point? Your vitamin D is absolutely essential. And because this is not the video for it, I'm going to skip a bunch of steps. Vitamin D plays a unique role in the immune process. How does COVID work? It causes an overreaction of our immune process. Vitamin D serves as a regulator for that. 32% of Americans are vitamin D deficient, but 82% of Black Americans are vitamin D deficient. 70% of Hispanics are vitamin D deficient, and many elderly people are vitamin D deficient. Why the elderly? Because of the skin changes as a result of getting older. They're not able to synthesize, they're not able to process the UV light from the sun that helps convert sunlight into vitamin D. Oh, I forgot to say 90% of our vitamin D comes from the sun. And for darker skinned Americans, the darker you are, this is a medical statement, this is not a racial statement. The darker you are, the less efficient your body is. Your skin is at converting sunlight to vitamin D. So the darker you are, the less efficient you are at converting sunlight to vitamin D. Therefore, it's very likely that the darker you are, you're more likely to be vitamin D deficient. Therefore, I would talk to your primary. Nothing I say should be taken as medical advice, just for information purposes only. Yes. Besides sunlight, dietary supplementation like dairy products, fatty fish like mackerel, tuna, and salmon, as well as you can take over-the-counter supplements. I would encourage you to talk to your primary care doctor about it. But vitamin D is absolutely essential. Excuse me. People talk about, well, what if I become vitamin D toxic? It's very difficult to become vitamin D toxic. Hey, follow me the next time. I will definitely soon do a talk on vitamin D. But be safe out there. And thank you very much for listening. Please share this with other people and join my channel as well.